Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, and Hugh McDonald here with me on the Tuesday. Delighted to have the guys with us, both of them looking very bronzed, it has to be said. I really need to take a holiday during the season. It's really worth it, isn't it? To be perfectly honest with you. Also, the good thing about today's programme, not only will we be talking football, but we're giving you the chance to win fabulous prizes. Of course, I was down there at Old Trafford, managed to get myself one of the hottest shirts in town. There it is there. Ronaldo on the back, and of course you can get your hands on that and the Matchday programme, which is a collector's item. That's a collector's item, and it's Ronaldo on the front. It says, "The path we've made together is written in gold letters." So there's the programme, and Ruffy added something that, I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Ruffy added the CR7 pants, which is incredible as well. These are CR7 pants, so you're going to look absolutely dangerous in your top and your pants and reading your programme. So well done, Ruffy. That's a real although, to be fair, in Portugal, who in their right mind goes into a shop and thinks, hey, I quite like the CR7 pants as well.
The short answer is Ruffy.
Exactly. So you can win all that. And the competition will be live tomorrow, but of course it's fairly straightforward. All you have to do is follow us on Facebook. On the feed, you can today just put in what year did Ronaldo make his debut for Manchester United? What year did Ronaldo make his debut for Manchester United? Just put it in there and hit the subscribe button, and you're in, and we'll be taking all the names and announcing the winner at the end of the week. So good luck with that competition. Should be good fun. And of course, bearing in mind, Hugh, Ronaldo against Messi, the debate continues, but when you're talking about marketability, Ronaldo in the first week, £187 million in shirt sales, Messi 104 million.
I know, it's incredible. Just when people start saying, you know, players aren't worth X amount of money, when you see these films, I mean, we know that he's got his own image rights as well to negotiate into that, but the money's just unbelievable. You were saying it was like, you know, it was like the last days of Saigon in the merchandise shop.
They were just grabbing everything, and to be fair, Ruffy, Manchester United were not caught short. They had thousands upon thousands there in the racks.
Yeah, well, according to obviously the video that we saw yesterday, I mean, that was all anybody was talking about. That was all anybody was interested in. The good thing about it is the younger generation have bought into him. You know, they really think, they've got him for obviously a wee while yet, but they've really bought into everything he does, and that might be good for football in the future, you know, if they try to, you know, look at him and copy him and all the things he does. So no, he's bringing everything to the party.
Yep, absolutely. Hi to Thomas, hi to Martin, Marlon Ray, Paul Baird, David Bradley, Nicky Twig, lots of people, Kenny Whitson as well. So many people joining us on the programme. We're delighted. We'll try and read out some of your messages as we go along. Don't forget, we're exclusively live on YouTube, and of course you can catch up on the podcast as well. So the Ronaldo shirt, the big competition, you can it'll be launched tomorrow, but there's a wee teaser for you, and if you can subscribe to us and give us the year he made his debut for Manchester United, you're in the hat. It's as simple as that. Okay, the big debate is over spot checks for vaccine passports. It looks as if it's nigh on impossible to ask everyone to provide the QR code to say you've had 2 Jags. That would take some amount of time and delay fans getting into the ground, Hugh.
Absolutely, and I think it was a real misstep by the Scottish Government to throw this. You know, Neil Doncaster is always very restrained in his language. When they announced their plans to introduce the legislation, you know, he was as kind of powerful as Neil Doncaster is ever going to be. So we're just not ready for that. I mean, the idea of, it needs a whole culture change. We'd have to say to people, we have to turn up, you know, 30 minutes before the match, and we'll have to do this. There's no way that you can get tens of thousands of people through turnstiles doing checks like that. Another thing as well, see, when you're stopping people, what's going to happen as well when you stop people and people are it was a no-no, and I think spot check is the easy and probably the best way out, Peter, you know, because they can say, well, we try to do so many spot checks and we try to do this, but blah, de, blah, de, blah.
But to be fair, even with spot checks, and we've got a feature coming on tomorrow, Hugh, because we were out today just canvassing opinion on this and chatting to people who will have to supply the technology, Ruffy, because it's all right everybody having a QR code. Somebody has to scan it, and you need a device to scan it, and you need a particular a particular bit of technology to scan that device.
On a smaller scale, as I told you before, Partick Thistle have been trying to do everything they're possible to change things to make it easier for people. And one of the things that we thought that the changing of money would be an issue for a lot of people, handling money. So we, on the first day of the season, we tried to do a card. If you went for your Bovril or your pie or to thing me, and it fell flat on its face because an older generation doesn't want to deal in a card. No, they want to pay their money. So on a bigger scale that you're talking about, that's the kind of problems you're going to have. You're going to have all different ages, want to buy into it, and some of them don't want to buy into it, and that's the problem football's got.
We need test events for this kind of stuff as well, because nobody really knows what the precise problems will be until it's tried out, Peter. My thinking about this is, if you do spot checks, see if it becomes a bit chaotic, they just pack it in and let everybody go in and say, well, we attempted to do spot checks, or we did spot checks. I think spot checks is a way out.
But with all due respect, there's no spot checks right now, Hugh.
No.
So how are they just suddenly bringing them in a month from now?
Well, this is what threw Doncaster. You know, he's just said, what's the need? And I think as well, they probably lumped in football because they had to do it for other hospitality areas. So they said we can't leave football out. But it was very, very poorly thought out.
That's quite a few things. We've been ducking and diving and knee-jerked to quite a bit of it. National Clinical Director Jason Leach looks as if he's veering towards advising on spot checks just because logistically it's going to be a nightmare. But it's 2 weeks away, and I have to tell you, clubs are going to have to get the technology in double quick time. So that'll be on the show tomorrow. You can see exactly the mammoth task facing the clubs, especially in the top flight with 60,000, 50,000 going to the stadium. We're going to talk Europa League, we're going to talk Champions League as well, and some of the other burning issues today. But of course, Real Betis against Celtic, there's nothing worse than a whole city getting ready for thousands upon thousands of away fans coming over, and it's just not happening for Celtic and Seville. And I think the people in Spain are gutted, especially in the city of Seville. They've welcomed Celtic fans before. 80,000, although reports at that time I think was 8.4 million were on the move from Glasgow. But nevertheless, Ruffy, they're not going to see them and they're gutted. Yeah,
I think the Celtic supporters will be gutted as well. The people who were in Seville the first time will have come away with a lot of good memories and want to revisit, particularly places they've been to and that kind of thing, and that's been taken away from them. And you're right, when we were over there, the relationship between the Seville people and the Celtic supporters was magnificent. I never seen any trouble whatsoever. It was very hospitable, and everything was there for them to do. So,
were you there?
Yeah.
What was your memories of Seville?
Just the supporters, just parked everywhere, particularly after the game. My biggest memory is taking 5 hours to get back to my hotel.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. The one thing I remember is
and carrying all the gear.
The stadium's not easily accessible, and then afterwards, Ruffy said, carrying all the gear and no taxis, and I ended up with our team getting a lift from a local who said, get the stuff in the back of the car and I'll drop you off at your hotel. Because it was a walk like you would never believe.
And the biggest disappointment, obviously, by the time we got to the hotel, the Celtic supporters had taken over the whole hotel. They drank all the beer. There was nothing left. There was not. The only light entertainment we had was Cat Harvey playing the piano. In the foyer.
Well, I'll have to say, by Cat is great on the piano, so I don't know what you're bumping your gums about. The fact that there's no drink is another problem, but not for you, Hugh. The other thing is the Association of Hoteliers have just said, basically, listen, disaster for the city. 16 months of sanctions, thinking there's going to be a huge influx of Celtic fans there, but it's not going to give the economy that much needed boost that it was looking for, Hugh, and I feel sorry for them.
Absolutely, and one of the downfalls of that football tourism is that, you know, you can imagine that stadium would have been absolutely jumping with 2 sets of fans. You know, it's a big stadium, so tickets would have been, you know, it wouldn't have been impossible to get a ticket, and the whole stadium would have been jumping. What a great occasion! I mean, I miss my football tourism as well, so it'd been just gutting for the Celtic fans.
Yeah, we taking it for granted that there'll be no fans going. Just
no, I think fans.
Day holiday.
I think fans will
not
be
at the
there.
game.
You think so?
Not in the stadium.
Well, they're not exactly.
I think the fans will be at the stadium.
Will they get knocked back for wearing the wrong colours?
I think. Well, I'll put it this way. There's flights going to Seville on that day, and they're not going to be full of people wanting to see the great Islamic mosque that was turned into a cathedral, shall we say?
Yeah.
And they'll be carrying people, and I think once they're over there, I mean, I think you could duck and dive and get a ticket in, Peter.
Well, you just need you wear a green and white scarf, you're in. I mean, it's not exactly there's no colour clash. The one thing I would say, Ruffy, on the footballing aspect of it, and I think Rangers and Celtic have got 2 tough games this week against quality opposition. Batiste finished 6th last season. It's not. I mean, they've had a win against Granada, a narrow loss against Real Madrid, and managed by Manuel Pellegrini. And I had a look at some of the players. There are some high caliber players playing for them.
Yeah, that high end of the Spanish league is top notch, and it's top notch all the time. Every year, if you look at the Champions League, Spanish teams of the Europa Cup, Spanish leagues, they're there or thereabouts. Seville's nearly been in the final a couple of times, haven't they, in the Europa? So
they dominated.
So they know what they're doing, and Celtic and Rangers will know what they're up against. You know, this is going up a level every time, and I always say, we should stop talking up these teams.
Yeah, I
know they're good and we know what they've got, but our teams, the Rangers and Celtic, have went away abroad and handled themselves against a lot of teams that we've talked up and went, oh, they've got some good players and they've got that. On the night, I think both of them are capable of turning it on.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I mean, but what we do is we assess the calibre of the opposition. I mean, sometimes there are teams that you just don't have a great insight into. But with this team, Hector Bellerin played for Arsenal, William Carvalho, Yakin, Willian Jose, Mark Bartra as well. They're all quality internationals, Hugh. So it'll be interesting to see, one, how he approaches the game. Is it the high press? Is it the go for the goals?
I think that's really intriguing, because Pellegrini, of course, has got the reputation of being a more sort of conservative coach as well. One that I think a very fine coach as well, Pellegrini, obviously. And it's that thing, it almost goes back to the Rodgers thing, where Brendan Rodgers always said, well, I'm not going to compromise, I'm just going to go for it. This is the way we play, and they got some real custard pies.
We were up one of them.
And
Barcelona.
And you just wonder, but it seems to be that Postecoglou's the same. That's the way he wants his teams to play, and let's go for it. But it will be a clash in styles.
Ray says Batiste are a good side. Watched them yesterday versus Granada. Steve McNamara says Batiste played last night at 9 o'clock. Another game in 3 days. We've had 2 days and a bit extra rest, says Stephen. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. I see your old gaffer just switching our attention now, Ruffy, because we'll get our predictions on it a little later on the week. But I see your old gaffer is now got a job at Manchester City. Gary Caldwell.
I saw that when he sort of handed in his resignation. His last job, he'd only been there 3 or 4 weeks, and we'd spoken to him, and he was just happy to be back in the game. But it just shows you, the job he's been offered at Man City must be mega. If you can get your foot in there, you're on the way up. They're such a big club. And I've always spoke highly of Gary. I'll only get a lot of criticism, some of our supporters, but we saw what he did behind the scenes, and we saw what he was trying to put in place, and for where I was, it was the right way. Obviously issues happen at every club, but I was glad that he got back in, and I think they've really, really got a strong asset there.
Yeah, listen, it constantly... the COVID constantly affects the way we go about following games, getting fans into games. We talked about Celtic fans not being allowed to go to Real Betis. Motherwell will have no fans at the game against Rangers for Rangers Flag Day. I think they've made a request to be allowed to watch the game back at the stadium in the bar. So I think that is something that will help some fans. But I think it's one of those days it just all belongs to Rangers. It's party time.
Yeah, and you can, while you would say obviously that you really want, opposing fans in the stadium and things like that, there's certain days where, reasonable allowance, can and should be made. I don't think there's any huge controversy over this one. Motherwell fans will be able to watch it live. Rangers fans will be able to, celebrate the raising of the flag. So I think this one is one that'll not cause too much of an upset. But I really enjoy, derby days with two sets of fans in it, Peter. I just think it just...
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, listen, I like whether it's Derby Day or anything, I like a set of fans being allowed to go and watch their team away from home. The good thing about this is Rangers get a chance to unfurl their own flag. They've made their own flag.
Have they?
They've made their own, well, of course. It's not going to have cinch on it, is it, Ruffy?
It'll be interesting to see if they actually send Rangers the proper flag.
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, I know.
They're going to make their own.
They're going to put it up, but they still have to send it. You have to accept it, whether you put it up or no.
Yeah.
So
minor technicality.
Where it ends up.
Somebody's getting that. That's a gift, isn't it?
If you talk about great memorial pieces like the programme there, the Ronaldo programme, that would be a bit of memorability.
Well, I'll tell you right now, anybody who gets that flag, it's going to be worth a fortune 20, 30, 40 years from now when the madness is eventually
50 years
when eventually everybody's allowed back in. No, it's a good piece of memorabilia, I have to say. But listen, they'll unfurl the flag, and rightly so, because it was a season not to forget last season for Rangers fans, and they want to be able to celebrate it, and rightly so. I think Rangers have done the right thing, Ruffy, in waiting to get that stadium full and allow people the chance to celebrate the achievement of last season.
Yeah, and we've said on numerous occasions, the Rangers supporters should celebrate it big time, and I really do hope they celebrate it in the right way. We don't want all the side stuff that goes on and takes away the gloss for the actual day. Everything that happens on the day and nothing silly going on that they pick up on. So no, let's hope it is the right way to do it. You're allowing all these fans in to experience a day they'll never forget.
Yeah, and the one thing that they really are looking forward to, and I think Celtic fans are the same, Rangers fans are really looking forward to, Europa League. Okay, it's the second best tournament, but you've got Lyon coming. Listen, if you think Real Betis are a force, Thiago Mendes, Moussa Dembele, Shaqiri, Jason Denayer, Jerome Boateng from Bayern Munich's there now, Emerson Palmieri, Houssam Aour. It's going to be incredible. And Steven Gerrard's 50th European game in charge.
Yeah, and some really great kind of side narratives as well. The Dembele one is a big one there. He's had some great days at Ibrox in the past, and he'll have a point to prove or want to prove them. It's just a terrific night. It's just a terrific night. It's a good old-fashioned European game. You're going to long to see really top-class players, stadium jumping. What we missed totally last year, this, when you hear the thump of the ball and the manager shouting, and completely different. Place rocking. Good players, something up for grabs. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am going to take a leaf out of your book, Ruffy, especially with Celtic over in Spain and Rangers, because of Rangers' record in the last few seasons as well. And Steven Gerrard said, we are a proven last 16 team, which you can't contest because the facts are there for everybody to see. But the one great thing about it that I'm looking forward to is, yes, there might be a few injury worries for Rangers, but to go out and replicate what happened the last time. I mean, I remember Rangers playing Lyon. I mean, I think Charlie Adam was talking about it in the papers this morning. But Rangers played against a Lyon team, and I remember looking and I'm thinking, oof, see that 17-year-old, he's dangerous. He could have some career, and it was Benzema. And they absolutely, Rangers got battered at home, and Benzema ran riot.
He got a hat-trick that night.
Yeah, but then away from home, Rangers absolutely ran riot against them.
That was one of the great Rangers performances. I was there that night, sitting right behind you, keeping you right, if I can remember. Yeah, again.
I'd done no preparation, is that right?
But that night, I thought that night was Hutton, Alan Hutton. I mean, you just looked at him that night and you said, "Oh my goodness, he's going to be a player. He's going to go to the Premier League because it's that way bombed down the right." Lee McCullough scored a great goal from a corner kick, I think a header. But it was Rangers were immense.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
night.
Daniel Kuzan's another name that sticks in my mind.
That's right. And, it was just a fantastic night that night, and Rangers really deserved it as well.
Yeah.
There was a need of amongst us all because we were there expecting, a backs to the wall, a gritty, Watanaccio as we used to call it, performance, and Rangers just really were powerful on the break, quite decisive. What a night that was!
Yeah, absolutely. They were a team that just managed to grind it out. I can remember talking to Barry Ferguson about the way they used to play. They knew their limitations.
That was the year they got to the final.
Yeah.
They dropped out because of Benzema. They dropped out, and then they went into the UEFA Cup, as I think it was known then, and they got to the final. And they, Fiorentina and Sporting Lisbon. You can remember against Panathinaikos as well. I think it was an away goal. I mean, there was really tough, tight games. But that was an awful good team as well.
Absolutely, you couldn't criticise them. They all knew their jobs, and there were some tasty players in that Rangers side under Walter. But again, equally so with the Steven Gerrard. You won't be obviously on the show on Thursday, Hugh, so you might as well give us your view on Real Betis Celtic and Rangers Lyon.
I think a draw for both Scottish teams would be a good result.
Yeah.
I really rate Lyon. I've watched them a couple of times and very smooth. I just don't know if Rangers are just quite up to the standard they were last year. I would hope to be proved wrong. I think it'll be a tough night for Rangers, and I think it'll be an extraordinarily tough night for Celtic. And, you always look at Celtic perhaps losing a goal as well. I know they didn't at the weekend, but you always look at that. I think both sides would take a draw.
Yeah, listen, to be happy with that, especially when you take into consideration the standard of the opposition. You can give us your view on how you think it's going to go with your team. Will Rangers get the win they crave at home to Lyon? I'm sure Moussa Dembele will get a warm reception coming back to Glasgow. And as far as the Celtic fans out there heading to Spain, Real Betis, how many Celtic fans will be in the stadium? Well, only time will tell, but it's good to actually get involved in these Europa League games and see Celtic and Rangers playing in them. Let's hope they get positive results. Negative things that have happened over the last couple of days, Ruffy, that again perhaps highlights the state of society at times. Chelsea have come out quickly and lost an investigation into sectarian abuse, would you believe, in London. Chelsea Aston Villa, John McGinn getting abused by a fan in the crowd, and some of the stuff that was said to him while he was overtaking a corner was just deplorable.
Yes, I mean, it's happening far too often, and the players themselves are now being affected by it, or they would have just got on with it now. But I think it's got to the stage now that they've had enough, and they want something done to it. And we've sat on the show here and thought, how many things you can do to stop it. And if it's one person, should the really good supporters round about him identify this guy? Can that be done? Can it be more stewards in the crowd? And they don't want to take the responsibility. And the police, is it plainclothes policemen? In certain areas where it's sometimes happening more than others. So something has to be done. We can't just keep talking about it, and now that players are throwing it out there, so it's a desperate time for it to happen. I thought it was getting better, but I think it's getting worse.
What?
No, we thought with all the racist stuff that we're doing to prevent it and all the active stuff, it would have affected it, but it just hasn't got through.
Yeah, I think we're possibly. I cannot say it's as bad as, going back to the 50s and 60s. Now, I'm not going to get caught in that argument, but I think now, just because of the platform that they're able to use, that's where I think we are subjected to it right across the country here. I'm talking about the United Kingdom, whereas before, you would get it from newspapers on a daily basis, and it's something that would maybe had happened a couple of days prior. You're getting the immediacy of it because we have so many platforms where they can get the news across.
Absolutely, that's a great point. It's more visible and more audible. You know, there's no escaping it, it really needs really strong and punitive action. I mean, the John McGinn thing has been, you know, looked upon. People say, "Oh, it's just, you know, it's just happened and that's fresh." But there's a whole, you know, almost a horrible tradition. James McLean, you know, has been subject to it for the best part of a decade.
Yes,
I mean, it's horrible stuff that he's been subject to, and it really needs to be. It's zero tolerance again, Peter. It needs to be identified and cut out, and it's so difficult at times for stewards and for people to do it. But again, and I can understand at times if you're, you know, if you're a fan and that, you know, that you don't quite want to, you know, point the finger because you know, you just sheer fear. But I just wonder if if there's a way where, you know, seat numbers can be identified, and then, you know, people can complain afterwards and say seat number such and such at such a game, you know, and people can complain a sort of sanitised atmosphere away from the game.
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely, I mean, it can't be as bad. I mean, you're younger, but my generation, it was chanted from the terracing. It was, you know, it was terrible stuff.
Yeah.
It was chanted, but now it is more visible and audible to the outside world, and it has to be addressed.
Yeah, not just in the UK.
The
world has the problem.
Well,
you know, and it's not going to go away. And
there's certain countries as well where the problem isn't even addressed as a problem.
Well, it's taken as okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just looked upon as
they think they're being persecuted for being racist. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Thanks to lots of people posting messages about how they think Celtic and Rangers will do, and of course the burning issues that we like to talk to on a regular basis. Hugh, it is Tuesday. Haven't had a chance to get your reflections on the weekend, where we were talking about it yesterday. I mean, we're looking at Rangers going into this game against Lyon, and you talk about players that stand out. Tavernier, his goal at the weekend was absolutely sensational. It's top draw. If that had been scored in England, you know, they'd be replaying it non-stop.
That's Tavernier. I mean, Tavernier really is capable of that, and he's not just capable of that from open play. We've watched line after line of free kicks where he's done something similar. That thing where the ball looks to be ballooning miles over the bar, and it drops like a leaf into the goal. I mean, if you look at Tavernier in that last 30, 40 yards, you would just say he's a top European player.
Yeah.
Tavernier's problem in all his career has been going that way. That's been his problem. That's where he's exposed. That's where, you know, probably top clubs haven't come in from, because going that way, going forward and in the final, I mean, his delivery, Peter, is astonishing.
But in the modern day, Hugh, this is the funny thing about it. Everybody wants the complete right back, full back, the complete left back, full back. I think you're talking about a small percentage of players can actually play that role, Ruffy. You know, bomb forward and be good defenders. The game's changed now.
I think it's up to managers to identify what kind of player you've got, and we always talk about the luxury player. If you've got a luxury player in the team, somebody's identified to cover for him. You know, if you're saying, like, if he's going to do this, you better make sure you're the nearest person. And I think you've got to do that with Tavernier now.
No.
Yeah.
You've got to say, hey, if this guy's prepared to be running about the 18-yard box, he's chipping in with goals, free kicks, you guys at the back realise where he is. You've got to cover for him.
Yeah. But if I could tell you, Ruffy, and you'll know this, and you'll obviously want to jump in, if I was thinking of great players that we've had that could do that specific role. I mean, Tavernier, for me, I think the positives far outweigh the negative aspect
I
of
would
it.
agree.
People cover, so I wouldn't focus on his negativity. I would look and say, well, wait a minute, how many players have we had as a nation that would be great, be great going forward, equally as good as a defender? McGrain, Jardine. I'll give you Ray Stewart. I'll also give you Stuart Kennedy at Aberdeen. Great.
I'd go into the Brownleys and the Shadlers.
John Brownlee, Eric Shadler. I was going to say John Brownlee,
Even a wee bit more modern. Alan Hutton. I remember Alan Hutton played against Italy, at Hampden, and he ran riot. He absolutely tore them to shreds just with the power going up. And it's not rocket science if you've got 3 at the back. You know, if the right-hand sided centre-half sees him bombing forward, just tuck over and take that area that he's vacated.
But it was with Tavernier, there's certainly the case that, you know, opposing managers have watched him go forward. I mean, if you look at under Rodgers, if you did a clip of Celtic goals against Rangers under Rodgers, the amount of goals that came, you know, in the pocket of space behind Tavernier, you know, it was huge. And it's not all his problem, of course, not all his fault, but it is a matter of organisation. Nowadays as well, Ruffy, you know yourself, I was watching a university game on Saturday, you know, and nowadays the actual setup when a team's got possession, even down at that level, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th tier of Scottish football, is both fullbacks on the halfway line.
Yeah, it's incredible. By the way, I'll just throw in another name, only for the fact that he played there for Dundee United. Richard Goff.
Goff, I was going to say Goff.
Goff played right back for Dundee United.
Malpass.
Malpass. God, I can't believe I haven't mentioned Morris. Morris is a great player. Apologies to Dundee United fans. How the hell did I forget Morris Malpass? That's terrible.
Yellow card there.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I've only rhymed off about 9 players. You've contributed 0. Listen, here's another thing I was going to say to you. What about, are you worried about the Predictor League queue? Because at the weekend there, you know, I think more or less we can all nab a couple of points with Rangers and Celtic more often than not. If you get the correct scores, you're flying. Nobody seems to be able to stop Alison at the moment. If you can have a look at that predictor table, she's out in front. I'm tucked in 46. She's in 54. You're nicely a couple of points behind me in 44. Tam's in 43. And then it's Ruffy and Gabriel looking as if they'll be contesting, you know, restaurants for the end of season.
I know, it's. I'm looking at Gabriel and I'm just saying to myself, do I fancy a Subway at the end of the season? That's what I
thought it was a great tweet. I don't know if it was true. He sent out something to say taking on an extra job. Was that a wind-up, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, he'll be fine. It's just, I'm not quite sure we're going to get the standard where Ruffy takes us, but that's what happens when you've got 6 people in there. Interestingly enough, we were talking about at the start of the programme, you know, players and the shirt we're giving away, the Ronaldo top. I read an interesting thing today, Hugh, and I just wonder if you've ever had this, Ruffy. Ronaldo, prior to the game against Newcastle, stood up in the dressing room and made a speech to all the players, and the basis of it, I think the Sun newspaper got the gist of it, where they got it from, maybe a player or somebody in there, but he just basically said, you know, I'm not here with some kind of token. I'm here to win. I'm here to finish my career a winner. Do you like winning? If you want to, you know, I'm looking at you all. You guys are great players. I'm here to win. I love United. If you love United, fight and let's see what we can do. And I thought, boy, that's been missing from that dressing room for a long while, eh?
That is an ultimate smart move, because there are a lot of big players in that dressing room. You know, players that have done not as much as him, but they're up there. You know, and to stand up in front of that calibre a player is something. And I'm sure that the rest of the players would appreciate that somebody like him would take the time to do that.
Was Tony Higgins not do that at Partick Thistle when Bertie was the manager?
No, I don't think that partnership would do particularly well. Shut down. I want to hear what you're saying, shut down.
Brilliant. I could just imagine Bertie as somebody stood up to make a speech.
But Ronaldo, I mean, one thing that marks Ronaldo's career, Ronaldo's always gone in search of trophies. That's what it's all about. That for him, it's all about legacy. It's all about you lift the Ronaldo book and you open it up, and there's this appendix: what he won, how many goals he scored, and his career is absolutely laden with that.
I'm going to wait. Obviously, hopefully, we're all, you know, still sharp, still alive, still enjoying Ronaldo and Messi when they finally hang up their boots. But I think history will be kinder to Ronaldo on the basis of what he's done across the whole of European football and for his country as well.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the whole debate is, yes, I know the cheesy thing to say is let's celebrate both of them, but we all like a bit of banter about who's the best. I am swaying towards him, and not just because I went down to see him because I wanted to see what the phenomenon was, but I'm swaying towards him. I'm looking forward to seeing him playing against young boys.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a... What I think about Ronaldo is that Ronaldo has, he's taken chances, not just in front of goal, but he's moved and to be, be the best in different leagues. And every league, including Serie A, people have said, he was slightly, you'd look at his figures in Serie A, he wasn't slightly disappointing. He was absolutely astonishing in Serie A as he's been elsewhere. I think the greatest thing about Ronaldo is the way that the Portuguese players react to him. They know he's the talisman, they know he's the guy that got them over the line, and of course, ironically, he was injured on the final.
Yeah.
But it was almost as if, they were doing that for him, and the amount of times that he just pulls things out the bag for teams. And the other thing as well is, it's funny, there's a game tonight where I was just watching where Bayern Munich are playing, and I thought I was really disappointed in Messi when the 8-2 game, when Barcelona needed a converted try in the last 5 minutes to win, and all you saw was Messi wandering about, and I went, I can't have that.
Yeah,
I really can't have that. You've got to, even if it's 8-2 for the team, even if it's everybody else's fault, and I know he's not picked to track back, but you've got to be in there, you've got to be doing it, and I just felt my head went a bit down with him a bit with Messi then.
I disagree with you, and I remember disagreeing with you at the time. This is a guy who walked under normal circumstances. It's pick your moments. Everybody was talking about Ronaldo. Ronaldo picked his moments, Ruffy, in that game on Saturday. And this is the great players. You can't run about non-stop in today's modern game. He waits. He'll have a little walk about and he'll say, right now, this is the point where I come alive.
Hugh's got a good point there, because this is as we spoke about it yesterday again. We're going to see Ronaldo 90 minutes every week now.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to see we see Messi's great moments, but we don't actually sit down and watch 90 minutes in a Barcelona game very often.
Yeah, well, I do.
Now I think, that you're going to see Ronaldo for the 90 minutes, and you touched on that game there. I was in Portugal, obviously, on holiday there, and I sat and watched the Republic Island game with some Irish boys who were in a hotel, and they're sitting in the 90th minute going, we've done it. No. And I'm looking at them going, no, you've no, because that guy's still on the park. And all he had those 2 chances.
Yeah.
That was all he had, and he won the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm not so sure they'll win the Champions League or be in there or thereabouts, Manchester United, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, ahead of their game against Young Boys, says, hey, you've got a better squad now, more experience.
With players like David next to me here, Harry had a couple of years here now, we're getting the spine in the team, and you can see with experience and quality, and of course with Rafael and Cristiano coming in, they add that not last bit, of course, you can never say if it's the last bit, but they added something extra that you have to buy unless you win it 4 times yourself.
Well, I know we love football. We love talking about Scottish football. We love delving into English, but I love European football, especially the Champions League. And for me, Hugh, Manchester United are not going to win it, even with Ronaldo, because their back line at times, it just fills you full of fear.
Yeah, but you wonder if Varane will sort that out. In the long term.
Yeah, maybe
in the mid-term. I mean, even in a few games, you wonder if Varane's going to be the game changer, because see, when you look at that team, I was kind of chortling the weekend, and I was going, they can win the league, they could win the Europe, what I call the European Cup, the Champions League. And then I looked at the squad, Peter, and it's a strong squad. I mean, there's some real talent there. I mean, I love Fernandes. I know he didn't have a great Euros, but I think he's a top player. I think Pogba, if somebody gets a tune out of Pogba's unbelievably good. Ronaldo's of the highest level. Up front, if Rashford comes back and into form, we've already seen Greenwood's a player. Cavani is an impact player.
Yeah.
Solid defensive midfielders. I think Matic is still a great player, and he'll be useful in away ties in Europe. McTominay, when he comes back. Shaw had a good Euros at left back. I mean, if you're going through them all, you say to yourself, do you know what? I mean, this team could be dark horses
Yeah.
for the Champions League. If it all goes to form, they could be dark horses.
Yeah, okay. I'm pro Ronaldo, but I beg to differ on their back line. Although I have to say, some obscure kick-off times for these games, 17:45 for young boys, Man United.
The young boys have got to go to bed early, so it was an early kick-off.
Absolutely. Yeah, in this 21st century, I'll just tell you, young boys playing Bern, and they're a team who are against Manchester United. Ronaldo, I'm just looking there at the overall team who are starting. He's there, he's starting, so no surprise there. And he will match Iker Casillas' Champions League record tonight when he appears for Manchester United. So well done to him. Here's the fixtures for tonight. If you're into Champions League football, I certainly will be watching it. Young Boys Man United, Seville, Salzburg, Lille against Wolfsburg, Villarreal against Atalanta, Chelsea, Zenit St. Petersburg, Malmo against Juventus, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Dynamo Kiev against Benfica, Malmo against Juventus. I mean, honestly, when you think about...
you could have won, it's the bullseye, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're looking, you're saying Rangers should have been in there, and next year at least we'll have one in. But you want to see Celtic and Rangers playing in the Champions League. It would just be absolutely fantastic. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has given us just a little insight into what we can look out for over the next couple of nights in European football.
The Champions League group stages return this evening, 108 days after Chelsea lifted the old trophy in Porto. Here are 5 things to look out for in this season's tournament. 1. English power. Chelsea overcame Manchester City 1-0 back in May's final, and Thomas Tuchel's men have strengthened since then with the deadly Romelu Lukaku up top. City will come again and hope that Pep Guardiola can finally deliver Europe's Premier Trophy, whilst Liverpool have been fairly under the radar so far this season but have started strongly. Will one of England's sides win the Cup? 2. The Ronaldo effect. The competition's all-time top scorer has returned to Manchester, and he bagged 2 goals on his debut versus Newcastle. He'll instantly lift standards across the board at United, and he always delivers on the biggest stage. Now, their favourable draw should see them through to the last 16, and with a star-studded supporting cast, will Ronaldo and United have enough quality to reach the heights once more? 3. Messi's PSG. The Argentine will play in the Champions League for a team other than Barcelona for the first ever time, joining a Galactico side in Paris. Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, Sergio Ramos, Angel Di Maria and many more are surely the most exciting team on paper, but the big question is, can Mauricio Pochettino find the balance and get the best out of Messi, who wants to win Old Big Ears one more time? 4. Super clubs. The impact of COVID-19 has hurt many of Europe's elite, none more so than Barca, whose team has entirely changed post-Messi. Will they be able to exorcise ghosts of previous damaging exits? Real Madrid are stronger, but not what they once were, whilst Atletico have the most Spanish strength in depth with Luis Suarez, Joao Felix and Antoine Griezmann. But Bayern Munich are always strong as well. They have the red-hot Robert Lewandowski and new man Julian Nagelsmann in charge. 5. Dark horses. Borussia Dortmund have the ruthless and still improving Erling Haaland up top and a very winnable group, as do Sevilla, who will also hope to go far. Italy won the Euros in the summer, and they'll hope to spur on one of Juventus, Atalanta, Inter and AC Milan to go deep into the tournament. Or perhaps a former winner, such as Ajax or Porto, could be the surprise package, whilst Malmo and debutant Sheriff Tiraspol of Moldova will hope to shock a few teams along the way. Let us know what you're looking forward to most in this season's Champions League.
Yeah, tell us who you think is going to win the Champions League. I have to say, Hugh, apart from us talking about Manchester United and their chances, you're going to be hard pressed. I think a lot of European football will be slightly miffed that there will be a dominance of English clubs in the last 4.
Well, I think so. I mean, when you look at, I was thinking before I came in about Champions League night and, it's kicking off again. I'm a great lover of it as well, Peter. And I was just thinking that, Chelsea, won it so cutely last year. Chelsea won it well, just a good manager, a good strong team, and they've got stronger.
Yeah.
They've got stronger. So, you can't rule them out. City again, I mean, Pep, his record in it has been lamentable, really, for the ammunition, talking £1 billion. So they've got to come close again. I watched Munich at the weekend, Bayern Munich. They've not got any weaker. I mean, I would say to anybody who's looking to watch a game tonight, obviously Barcelona. Munich would be a game that they would want to watch. watch the kid Musiala who might play tonight. He came on at the weekend, absolutely top notch. Sané looks as if he might be a more important player for Munich this year as well. So there's teams outside that will challenge the English teams, but the level of money and strength in the English game at the moment, you would push to see past them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your thoughts. Who you think is going to win the Champions League, Europa and Europa Conference League? Hard to believe there'll be no Jose Mourinho. He's with Roma in the Conference League. It's amazing. Just before we go, there's the shirt. On the back says Ronaldo, simple as that. He's the man of the moment, and we've got the programme from his return, the return of the Magnificent Seven. It was Man United against Newcastle United. They won it 4-1. Ronaldo scored 2 goals, and just in case you thought we hadn't given you the complete package, there is the package for you. Ruffy was on holiday in Portugal, and for some insane reason thought, hey, I think I'm going to look dangerous in a pair of CR7 pants. So these ones are fresh, they're brand new.
Thank God you stressed that.
I need to clarify that. They're there. You can win the whole lot. All you have to do is in our feed today, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and of course, just in the feed, put in the year that Ronaldo made his debut for Manchester United. What year was that? And you're in the hat to win. All 3 of them. We'll be giving it away on Friday. The competition will be run on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube from tomorrow, so look out for it as well. Give yourself as many chances to win. All you have to do is follow us on Facebook, subscribe on our YouTube channel as well, and put in the year that you think Ronaldo made his debut for Manchester United. Great to hear from Hugh, great to hear from Ruffy, as well as you. Thank you for supporting us here on PLZ Soccer, our YouTube channel, exclusively with Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. From myself, Peter Martin, to you, thank you for watching.